Welcome back, everyone. Well, of course, you've heard the phrase heat of the summer. Well, a lot of interesting things going on in City Council meetings in Saratoga Springs. Talk about heating up. A couple of weeks ago, very interesting meeting. Last night, very interesting meeting. You'll be able to watch it starting tonight. And joining me today is Mayor Joanne Yepsen, and we're going to talk a bit about the City Council, and we're going to talk a bit about the summer. So welcome, Mayor.
Thank you.
Nice to have you in. I love it that you come in and do these periodic checks with us.
It's my pleasure.
Just to have you here and find out how things are going. Mayor, I want to get into a lot of confusion about City Council meetings right now. Very contentious, a lot of infighting going on. A couple of weeks ago, the issue of censure came up over something with Saratoga Hospital. And I want to kind of get your opinion on a couple of things, okay? And I want to set it up for our viewers. The City Council was a very heated debate, whether to censure the mayor or not, about a work proposal concerning Saratoga Hospital Foundation. And that became more complicated because a separate corporation, Saratoga Hospital, had a proposal before the City Council, an expansion proposal before the City Council. The mayor went to the City Council prior to committing to do any work for the foundation to say, hey, in case there's an impropriety here, I want to make the City Council aware that I've got this offer to do this work for the foundation. The mayor also has a history with Saratoga Foundation going back something like 9 years for having done consulting work for them. Well, it exploded in a way that a lot of us were very confused about. Okay? I hope I set that up objectively and
fairly
properly.
Accurately, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, comment on that, please, and if you want to correct it, correct it.
Sure. Well, any time that we have been trained, and we have trained others who serve on boards and committees to be extra careful. And so when you're having any question at all, to go to the ethics board, which I put back together. It was not. It was fairly dormant when I took office, and I thought it was important to have a sounding board for ethics, and an opportunity for anyone from the public can go to the ethics board with an inquiry about any topic they're concerned about or questioning. So I did that when, yes, I've had a much longer relationship with the Hospital Foundation than even 9 years. I served on the board for 9 years. After I was off the board, I was hired a couple of times to do board trainings for them, and have helped them raise a lot of money through the gala and various other ways of annual fundraising. So I care very much about the hospital. And there was an opportunity. They reached out to me and said they were looking for some help. Clearly, that was very passive. There was no contract. There was no money exchanged. There was a couple of emails that came from the hospital that I sent back expressing some interest. And yet, there was this sort of parallel track happening with a very heated controversial project that the hospital was proposing to build a 90,000 square foot building in the backyards of residents. And so residents got very organized, and they actually hired an attorney and got 200 signatures on a petition to stop the project because they required it required a supermajority, which means 4 yes votes on the council. Right. So both John Frank and I recused because he had another issue with the Homeowners Association as a CPA. I had had these very preliminary conversations with the Hospital Foundation about continuing our work together at some point. And you know, I felt it was really important. I was beginning to feel uncomfortable. So I took it to the ethics board and said, I have an inquiry. Can I get your advisory opinion about what I should do here? And I'm sure at this point, exactly, the hospital was also having second thoughts about why are they wanting to do business with the mayor at this time. So both of us got our legal opinions and at the same time and determined that this would not go forward until after I wasn't mayor anymore. However, the hospital or the ethics committee really felt like, well, since these conversations have happened in the last few months, it would be safest to recuse. And they really felt strongly about that. I took their advisory opinion seriously, and I went to the council to report that I was going to be recusing from further participation on any discussions having to do with this 90,000 square foot proposed project. So that's what you do when you're in a potential conflict, is you recuse. And I felt that it was the most ethical thing to do, the safest thing to do, and the way that would be the fairest for all.
Well, you know what, Mayor? I mean, I have to make a comment on this. You're being proactive about this.
Yeah, I was.
You know, now in a world that is so political to start with, you know, you think to yourself, there are a lot of private agendas going on or whatever, and I'm not taking sides here, but I'm watching the facts, right?
Yeah.
And the facts are presenting themselves in such a way that I think you're to be commended for being proactive about this. But something has gone wrong. It's backfired.
Well, it's gotten very political, in
Yes,
my
right.
opinion. So people that want to see me out of office for one reason or another have decided that they're going to take this to the fullest degree against me. And yet it's an advisory opinion. There's no corruption. There's no
right.
criminal activity here. It was a recusal because of a potential conflict. And John Frank recused too, so there were 3 left. And I think the hospital was frustrated because it was clear that Commissioner Mathieson was not in favor of the project, so now they're left with 2.
Right.
How do they get their project done? How do they expand in this city? And I get that, and I've said to them indirectly that they should be working with my planning office to find alternatives, because we want the hospital to be successful. That's part of who we are as a community. So it makes no sense for people to say that I wouldn't be supportive of the hospital. My history shows that I'm supportive of the hospital. My history shows that I'm always trying to help people and do the right thing in the city of Saratoga Springs as the CEO of this city.
Well, you know what, the other comment I think I'd make here is that far from being a 6-figure salary on something like this, it's supposed to be a part-time position, a very low salary to start with. You make it a full-time position.
Oh, more than that, yeah.
And you know what? These compliments I'm giving you are warranted. You know, I watch city business every day, and we do the city council meetings uninterrupted and unedited, and we watch those as well.
Well, other people should watch them too, because it's gotten very nasty, and I think that's how you intro this discussion, unnecessarily. And I had to go through the entire rules of conduct last night. I passed them out to the audience, and I read them to the city council, and I asked several times, will everyone at this table adhere to the rules that you approved over a year ago? And did not have full cooperation throughout the evening. In fact, several interruptions. And I was at the county board for 8 years. You push a button if you want to speak and ask the chair of the meeting for permission to speak.
Right.
Okay, there's only 5 of us. I get that. That's not maybe appropriate at this, but I do run the meetings. I'm the chair of the city council, and until such time I'm not mayor anymore, I'm going to continue to chair these meetings.
You know, I've heard from many people that you're very focused at the meetings, that they have been very chaotic. Again, we'll start airing this meeting tonight.
But that's a strategy, for some of the council members to throw me off my guard, to make it chaotic. And what's happening then is we don't get the people's business done. We've got major issues in the city. We need to get back to work and stop this nonsense. We've got to work on affordable housing. We've got to work on parking, and I'm thrilled our parking recommendations got approved unanimously last night. So I'm excited to continue that momentum, because we need to solve the parking problem as best as we can. And we need to continue to focus on a year-round home for Code Blue and a drop-in center, and get the homeless off the street. There's so much work to be done.
Well, you know what? The one you did mention is city charter.
Oh,
That's being revisited. Again, it's supposed to be revisited every 10 years. I think the last time it was done was 2001, right? Is that correct?
2001, under Ken Klotz. Our charter demands that the mayor set a charter commission at least every 10 years, is the way it's worded in the charter. So 2016 is 10 years, because the last mayoral charter commission was under Val Keane in 2006. As you recall, some recall, that one failed. It did go to ballot, but it failed. We're going to take our time, and we're going to make sure this 15-member appointed charter commission, who's I'm really excited about. They're people from all walks of life. They represent the community well. They are business people. They're attorneys. They're financial people. And they're people that just care about the city. And they want to review the charter, which is their task, to update it, because we are still dealing with this 2001 charter. And, you know, people think of the charter as just the form of government. It's not just the form of government. It's how we are operating and what our authority in every office and department is every day. And if it's not up to date with state law or local ordinances, we could be in, financial and legal, so it's not a good thing to be working with an old charter. So I feel very strongly about this.
Well, you know what, Mayor, again, if you just go back to those priorities, parking, code blue charter, housing, these are major, major initiatives that in the time that I've known you, you've been very dedicated to taking them on, finding the right people in the community to be part of the commissions or the advisory panels and stuff like that, and to get it done. Boy, well, we could certainly talk for 30 minutes about this. Have you back again soon. I want to know how your summer's going. What do you do? Do you sleep?
Something light. Let's talk about something light, like playing tennis or winning at the track. I won 2 exactas at the track the other day.
Well, congratulations.
Not very much money, but it broke even.
But thank you for spending as much time as you did trying to shed some light on this censure issue.
You're welcome.
I get calls about it all the time. I've talked to people on the street all the time about this, and I'm glad you clarified some of these things.
And if you see what legal experts say is the council didn't even have authority to do that.
Yeah, I've heard that as well. We've reached out to a couple of city council members in case they would like to add something to this conversation. And I'd just like to reiterate that now. Contact us and we'd be glad to talk to you. Mayor, thank you very much for coming in.
Thank you.
And I'll either see you at the orchestra or at the track, right?
That's right.
Thank you. To see this interview again, you can head to our website, looktvonline.com.